welcome to Intentionality episode 5, which is going to be a January recap slash a little bit about me, just because I don't think that I can spend a whole podcast time talking about everything that I learned, even though I do know I could probably spend a bit talking about it. So I thought maybe I'd just fill a bit of time with a little bit of background about me because I think one of the next episodes I'm going to do is going to be my story, my testimony, and that could be a very long episode. So I thought maybe I'd just give a little bit of like overall context now so that when I'm actually telling my story, it's not, oh, in order for you to understand this, you need to understand this. So I just am going to share a little, I guess. First off, though, I'm so excited because this morning I made a coffee I actually like, which is really funny because I worked at Starbucks for a year and then I worked at Cup of Joy for a year. So I worked in fake coffee and real coffee. I don't know, it's like how I like to explain it, but um and ever since I stopped working at Cup of Joy, coffee like hasn't tasted the same to me, and I don't know, I think I explained this in a different episode. I don't know if it's because there's like a bad association mentally with it or what, or if I just got tired of it for working in it for so long, but it's been so hard for me to actually like make coffee at home that I like. But however, we need to save money, so we're trying to like not buy coffee anywhere else. And so I've just been really like dialed in trying to master at home coffee, and I've been documenting it on TikTok. So go look at that if you want because it's honestly been really fun. But this morning I made one that I actually like, and I'm so excited about it because now I feel like I know where to go. We've been deciding like what pods we like and stuff. So I don't know. Very excited that sorry, the cats always decide to have the craziest zoomies while I'm recording, and the calico literally just jumped halfway up the sliding glass door and just like spider monkeyed it. Anyways, very excited about my coffee. But it's officially February 1st. So for some reason, I'm so excited for Valentine's Day. So like I'm excited for February. I don't know if it's because January just felt like a non-existent, like unreal month, or I don't know, but for some reason Valentine's Day just seems so fun. I've been like on Pinterest and like making a board of like Valentine's Day, but not like this is what I want my Valentine's Day to look like. It's just like the vibe of it. Like my hope is that you can look at this board and then just be like inspired with like the vibe of it, if that makes sense. I've also made another one, or I'm working on one for like spring reset. So it's not like these are the things you need to do for a spring reset. It's just like the vibe of it. And I feel like to like get inspired, I don't know. So go take a look at that if you want to. My Pinterest is actually, it, dare I say, kind of fire. I love my Pinterest a lot, and I've been in working in social media. I've been really like trying to post on it more as like one of the outlets that I do. So I have TikTok, obviously, and then Instagram, which is a little bit more personal still. I'm just trying to like post on my story more, but I've still been bad about posting on my feed. And then Pinterest, I like specifically spend an hour a week like working on my boards, or like anything that basically that I post on Instagram, I just post as a pin, and sometimes they take off and it's great. But yeah, really excited for Valentine's Day. It'll be our first Valentine's Day married, which will just be really sweet. I don't work Saturdays anymore, which is super, super cool. I'm really excited. I didn't realize that, like, I don't think that I've not worked a Saturday in my entirety of like working, unless it was like requested off for a wedding, requested off for a vacation, or like something like that. I don't think I've just had a Saturday off. And Luke still works, which is sad, but we'll be able to have Saturdays off together, like at the nighttime, and like do date nights and like, I don't know, just fun things. I feel like I have like a real job. I'm really excited. But this Valentine's Day, I have Saturday off. So we are going to be doing something. I don't know. I'm just really hoping that I can like make it special for him and just, I don't know, try to like bring the vibe that I have on my Pinterest into real life as much as possible. So I'm excited. I also am doing a Galentine's Day party with all of the candles left over from our wedding. I finally got some of them back. I don't know where the rest of them went, but I know that I definitely had more than that. I don't know. I don't know where they are. But as much as I want to keep them, I there's no way I'm going to be able to store that many candles. So I was like, how fun would it be if my girls and I all just took a candle and painted it? And it is like used, it's been burned, but it's like slightly burned. It hasn't like gone crazy or anything. So it'll be like the perfect like piece if you want to burn it. If you don't want to burn it, it's like burned to a perfect circle. I don't know. So I'm really excited about that. Be able to spend some time with my gals. It'll be another way to like make my Pinterest come to life in a different way. Yeah. Anyways, really excited for February, which is good because sometimes February can be just as down as January because it's just like what's happening except Valentine's Day. And if you're single, sometimes that's sad, but it doesn't have to be sad. Hang out with your friends, do something cute, do a party, something. Do the Valentine's Day party, and it's on a Saturday this year. Have fun. Anyways, now actually diving into the January recap. Basically, here's a recap of why I'm doing a January, January recap. If I'm gonna have a dollar for every time I say recap, it's gonna be crazy. Um, but basically, I have been called to social media. I feel like the Lord's been like, hey, think you should try on social media, not just as a job, but kind of as like a witness in authentic life with Christ, like representing life with Him well. And for a bit, I didn't like really want to start it, didn't quite know if it was time. And so towards the end of 2025, the Lord was like, yeah, I think maybe you should start doing this. So I kind of started posting and like getting the hang of it. I'd been practicing a lot of like content and videos and just not posting it for a bit. So I'd had a little bit of practice, but when it was like December, it was like, yeah, the Lord's definitely like 2026. I think you should go all in. So I was like, cool. I then was like, I don't want to do a New Year's resolution of like, I'm going to do all of this, especially because the like vision that I have for the social media thing is pretty vast. Obviously, I have a podcast, but I also want to do like an Amazon storefront, which I think I'll get more onto later of like wanting to start that. I already have one, but it's linked to I think a ghost Amazon. I don't know what it's linked to. I don't know. But I can't change my name and you're not like you literally can't change your name in any way shape or form once you've created an Amazon storefront, and I kind of wanted to scrap the whole thing and start again anyway, so I'm starting a new one. Whatever. That's off topic. But there's a lot of different things that I want to put into being on social media, especially if it's going to end up being a job type thing. There's just a lot that I want to do, and it was way too much to be able to be like, this is what I'm going to do. 2026, just way too vulnerable for burnout. So I was like, January is going to focus on starting the podcast. February is going to have something else. March will have something else, but obviously trying to continue them throughout the year. Some months won't be like adding another specific job thing, which is a bad example because I added the podcast in January and I'm adding Amazon storefront in February. But like March, our lease is up and we might be moving. So one of these months will eventually be like, we're moving, like just a different type of like theme. But the podcast is what I wanted to talk a little bit about for January because it was obviously the thing that I added, the thing that I started. And yeah, so I did post an episode every week, which was the goal. So that was achieved, but I just learned like a ton about it in general, like filming, mics, like a bunch of logistics. First, which mic? this I this isn't mean to sound boring at all, but I'm a verbal processor, and so a lot of this will just feel good to like actually get out because then it feels like it's engraved into my brain of like the things that I've been learning and just really get to see how far I've come in a month. So I'm excited. No one else would probably notice this, but I've changed mics or played with them in every episode, trying to figure out which one has the best quality because I have a really loud laugh. So when I'm with one of my friends or something, you can definitely hear my laugh like just kill the kid. Like it's so loud. I was like, okay, so we are not going to do that again. So, how far am I holding it from my face, or like which little fluffy top should I use? Which one works the best? And X, Y, and Z. I also think that I have been editing too aggressively, like cutting off stuff or like not wanting there to be any spaces, and it just ends up being too quick. I don't really, I don't know. I feel like I cut myself off or like the beginning of words off, and then it ends up just feeling a little bit too rushed, but also I think that I just talk spread out anyway. Like, I don't know how to explain it. There's lots of gaps in how I talk, and I've been noticing this because I have been trying to make Get Ready with Me's or like actually talking videos, and they end up being so long. And I don't know if that's just something that I need to learn. But also, it's so easy for me to fill up a 45-minute podcast because I can talk a lot. But I need to leave all that to be here and figure out how to do it there. A whole different story on things that I'm learning. But I also think that the editing too aggressively is just me really trying to like control and make everything perfect as the perfectionist that I am. And I think I just need to not care as much and let it be just chill. I feel like it'll come off so much better as a listener. I haven't really been listening to these because I hate to hear myself talk. I listened to the first one, um, the reason why, just because it was the first one. I wanted to see like how it sounded and stuff. But I haven't listened to another one because the second one was the one with Skylar, and that was the one where I was just like laughing and killing the mic, and I was like, I don't want to hear this. I know that it was bad. I'll just change it next time. So, should I probably listen to those? Yes. Will I? Don't know yet. Other random things, filming during the day. The last episode that I did with Riley, we filmed it at night because it was like the only time that we had that lined up last week. And oh my gosh, I was just zoning out and like brain farting, like could not think well at all. And it took us like a bit to get started and like really get into the flow. It was a long day. I think we recorded that at like 7 p.m. Like really late. So definitely think that filming in the beginning of the day and really like starting my day well with my coffee and my breakfast and Bible time, like just really fresh into the day, I think is gonna be what's better. I've done that so far with pretty much all of my friends, and it definitely has been going better. So I think that I need to film in the morning. I don't know if I'm as good at filming by myself. I don't think that I'm not good at it because I've definitely enjoyed and been able to talk well in the ones that I've done by myself, minus the first one. I was so nervous in that, and you can tell. The next one, of battling mental lows, I felt really confident in that. And this one, I feel a little bit better because I'm just trying to be more of myself. I feel like the last episodes that I've done have been really like big topic, like really getting into it. And that's not necessarily the heart that I had for this. I wanted, not that I hate any of these, I love every single episode that I've put out, and I think that they have really great content. But I just don't think that I did well of balancing the like normal life, regular talking and being silly with the actual like deeper conversations. And I am wanting to appeal to like other people besides believers as unbelievers and everything, just to be able to reflect an authentic life with Christ well. And I just feel like the last ones, it was like, especially with like pruning season, was just like diving into it. And I love it so much. In no way am I trying to be like, I'm being too Christian. No, I'm unapologetic. But I do need to find a balance. And I haven't done that yet. But this one, where I'm just like being more myself and obviously warming up to it, it's been like a month. That's all of me trying to do this. And I feel like even the growth there has just been really great. So definitely not trying to be perfect immediately, but these are the things that I've learned. And when I have a friend that I'm filming with, it's definitely easier for me to like have an energy to bounce back with. It's a little bit harder to do that when I'm talking by myself. It's just a different way. I think that I'm still being myself and talking and being normal, but when I have a friend here, it's like, okay, I could literally avoid the camera and just talk with them and it would be perfectly fine. It's just so much easier to do, but I do think I like having the off and on of featuring one of my friends and then just me. So I think I'm gonna keep doing that. And next week we have Jenny Harris. I'm very excited. I don't know what we're gonna talk about yet, but it's coming. I'm definitely not gonna be doing a specific intro. I just didn't like it. I tried to do one with ChatGPT and it was way too long, and I was like, I don't even feel like doing one would be very reflective of me. I'd rather just start yapping in the beginning and then dive into it. I don't know. Also, another thing that happened with the podcast is my views tanked like instantly. On the like Spotify for Creators app, you can see like how many people have clicked on it, listened to it, and whatever. And the first one, the reason why, has probably more views than every other episode combined. So literally 2 through 4 combined have less than the first one, which is to be expected when you're starting a podcast and you're talking about the reason why and people are nosy and want to know. But it definitely got me a little bit sad, and it's been easier to procrastinate working on this because it doesn't feel like I'm doing it for a reason. Not that I'm doing it for a reason, it just, I know what I'm doing it for, and I'm really happy with everything that has been put out, but I just don't feel like, I know that some people have been like, "Oh, I really love it." Like, and that's been really encouraging. I've really needed to hear that, but just going from everyone wanting to know why and then not wanting to listen after has been a little bit defeating, but it's not about the people around me, and it's not about who's listening. It's about planting seeds and helping and being a, what's that word? Being, I don't know, being a hand that the Lord can use, or a voice. What's that word? If anyone thinks about the word that I'm trying to say, throw it in the comments because I have no idea. It's gone. Yeah, but I just need to like learn a little bit of patience with this. I don't think it's going to take off immediately. I don't even have a following on TikTok or anything. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I obviously know that it'll end up growing and whatever. And the point of me continuing to post every day and every week on both TikTok and this podcast is so that there's enough that when or if that ever happens, there'll be more things to go to. And like see, besides just like, oh, say I like recently started and it's like, oh, they only have one thing, like it'd be very easy to lose retention. So now I'm just hoping that if I, what's that word? Fake it till you make it. Now let's talk a little bit about what I learned on TikTok. Mostly, I'm having fun, honestly. It's been really great, like posting. It's been easy for me to make content, if that makes sense. Just like, oh, I remember to take videos a lot more. I used to like start filming something and then not finish it. I've been able to like be in the moment and be like, oh, I could make this into a video. Like, I'm getting into that creative mindset, which has been really great. I did post every day all month. I didn't really get any like huge blow ups, which definitely isn't the heart, and I don't really care that none of them blew up, but just as an update of where this month has gone, that didn't really happen. I think I did get one with 1,000 views or something like that, and it was just a silly one that Skylar and I wanted to make at Disneyland. It's hilarious, and I love it, but that was the most successful one, and honestly, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. Skylar, we killed that. I definitely started realizing that I had expectations for how this whole thing would go, that I didn't know that I had. I think that I was expecting to like actually grow followers and like have at least a little bit of things pick up, and that just definitely didn't happen. But I've also seen people be like, no, like TikTok's just testing you. Like if you're in the 400 jail, like it's fine. I don't know. I don't really want to like really listen to all those videos. They come up on my page, but I'm like, eh. The ones that it's like, you need to save, share, comment at least 5 words, and like, I'm not gonna do that. I know what you're doing, and I'm not gonna have that. I will comment and like and save according to how I would normally want to do it, and follow. I'll follow who I actually want to follow. I'm not gonna do any of that or do the thing where like you just follow a bunch of people so that they'll follow you back. Like I want to gain this authentically, which is why I don't think I want to take this account down because I have been posting every day. So it's not like it's a ghosted account and now you're posting on it. It's not going to go everywhere. I've been posting every day, and I want, like I was saying earlier with like having a bunch of podcast episodes, like if something does happen, I want people to be able to like scroll back and have like a bunch to see of like where I've grown and how I've come. And I did learn a lot in talking videos back then, but I definitely haven't been doing enough of those. And that is something that I've seen on like other creators' accounts of like, you should post more talking videos because people want to like actually know who you are. So me sitting here like, why? Why? Not because I don't want to. I know that I can talk. It's just, and I know that there are things that I want to talk about. It's just, I feel like it's so much easier for me to do that in a podcast than it is in a short video. And that's just because I'm going to have to learn and I'm going to have to figure it out. I don't think that get readies with me are going to be good for me because you have to like space out how you talk to like according to what thing you're putting on for your makeup. So it might be easier for me to like make my breakfast or make a coffee and just like talk or something like that, because I can just continuously do it and not have to break it up. Because when I have to break things up, it just everything goes south and I forget what I was talking about, or it sounds awkward, or then I'm making too many pauses. So these are just things that I've learned that like you wouldn't really think about, and I don't know if I'm overthinking it or not. I might be. I think I just need to be a little bit looser in the content that I'm putting out, and I think it'll go a little bit better. So I'll be implementing that in February. And I also think I've only been posting once a day, and I've also heard that you should post multiple times a day, which is the hard to do, but in like trying to not start out and be like full force, it was like, okay, once a day is going to be fine. And it's been pretty good, but I think an easy way to start posting twice a day would just to be a simple like OOTD every day. So I'm thinking about doing that and implementing that in February. I kind of did that a little bit this week, maybe. I don't know. Been doing it a little bit here and there, but I want to do it every day, hopefully. So that'll be an easy way to post twice a day. So we're gonna see how that will go. Another talking video that I've done is the coffee one, so I'm doing that. But I do think that I need to post, even if it's just like restating some of the things I've already said on the podcast on TikTok, because not everyone's going to go listen to a podcast. I don't know. Oh, back to something I did with the podcast. Can't believe I forgot. I started an Instagram for it, which I don't know why that never came to my mind to do before. But the other week I was like, oh, wouldn't it be kind of smart if I made a podcast Instagram? Because it also allowed me to kind of see like who actually cares about it. And I don't want to like be blowing up my main Instagram account with things for the podcast, because I know that there's a lot of people in my life that won't care about that and won't want to see it. And I would rather not lose. I would hate to be the person that's like, oh, I can't stand following this person because they're just always posting about this. That's not what I want to be. I want my Instagram to stay like a really authentic version of me in like just pictures, if that makes sense. Of just like the daily life in like elevating the mundane, I think is where I want my Instagram to stay, but definitely like every Sunday being like new episode, or like a reminder every midweek or something. Um, but the intentionality Instagram, I, goodness, I don't know. I started it and I have like an idea a little. I think I want to post like a little clip like I did last week of like, oh, like just a clip from the podcast that I liked. Um, as like a sneak peek, and then be able to just post other random things throughout the week, or maybe just like an encouraging post or something. I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about that. I don't know if I should dedicate a month to that, because that might have been taking on a little bit more than I thought that I did. And if I would have thought about that in like December, when I was like, oh, I'm going to start the podcast in January, that would have been something I would have learned to like balance, but I definitely didn't think about it. So I don't know. But I think for the Amazon storefront startup in February, that's not going to take up that much of my time, because I'm kind of going to treat it like Pinterest, of like, oh, I just work on it for like 30 minutes twice a week and just add stuff. I think it'll be super easy. So it'll be easier for me to also balance learning the intentionality Instagram and what I want that to look like. But I think it's ep.intentionality for Emma Fanko. Intentionality podcast in like every way possible was already taken. So I just put ep.intentionality. Oh well, follow it if you are listening to this, because you'll be able to see a lot more and be able to put things that you want to see or anything like that. I've been like trying to post polls or like type ins, which no one's really using. But again, we're learning, we're getting there. I'm not going to expect things to be like amazing at first. Just trying to get there. So staying open handed. Back to TikTok. Another thing that I've seen is trying to like choose your niches. And I feel like I have everything in my mind. Like I have the idea, the vibe, the aesthetic, the goal in my head, but it's been so hard for me to like put that into just like 3 words, that I feel like I need to be able to do that, so that just anyone coming along could be like, oh yes, this is the type of thing that I like. I know that I don't think a lot of people do this, but I have like a big one, like my number one, the overarching word for what I want this to be is authentic life with Christ. That's like my number one thing. But for the 3 subcategories or niches or whatever, it's a popular word right now, is lifestyle. And I like that word because it covers so much. It can cover the budgeting, the trying to save money on coffee, the actual products worth investing in, and like just like a lot of things, and just truly lifestyle. Like, I don't know, just that balance of it can go into interior design. I don't know. Then the second one would be aesthetic development or enhancement. I feel like it'd be really cool to see the younger generation be able to develop and learn their own aesthetic, and for people that are older, be able just to develop theirs instead of just relying so heavily on what's trending. Just because everything is trending all of the time, it's always changing, and it just is going to be so expensive to have to change your aesthetic all the time. I've even been kind of feeling that because like I've been going to the gym a lot more, and I go to use my Lululemon clothes, which I have way too many of because I went through a phase. But it was when I was younger. It was when I was in high school and just getting into college, and so all of the Lululemon that was popular back then was like the Swiftly t-shirts and the like Lulu joggers that like don't have open flared bottoms, and like I go to put on my Lulu outfits and I'm like, I feel like I'm too old for this. Which is, and my friends were like, Emma, you're 22. I'm like, yeah, but it feels like this is something a high schooler should wear. I don't know. Just been like even falling into that too. Just like, okay, I need to get creative in how I can still use the things that I have and develop my own aesthetic with these things that I've got. So, for anyone that's like, I don't know, going out of high school and into college, or trying to just like budget and still be able to have their own aesthetic and still be able to somehow follow trends, of just like learning the balance of where to like invest into the clothes that you should get and like still be able to rewear them or use them when something else comes to trend, or I don't know, just be able to feel like you're staying where you want to be without being so much into like, oh, I have to have this, I have to have this, I have to have this, and then the trend switching and being like, okay, what do I do with all of this, just because it's silly and futile. So much of it is futile, and I feel like there's definitely got to be a way to get creative with the things that we have and still be able to feel confident in our own aesthetic and slightly be able to incorporate. Trends shouldn't define you, they shouldn't define your aesthetic. And if a trend is exactly what your aesthetic is, that's great for you. Like, you already have a bunch to go with that. But I feel like a trend should be a subcategory or a light influence on what your aesthetic already is. And I don't know, I'm just really excited about that. And I want to be able to knock it off. Sorry. I want to be able to reflect that well. So that's definitely another one of my top three. So lifestyle, aesthetic development or enhancement, and vlogger. I don't know. What do you categorize talking to the camera as? Because I will vlog some days, and then other days I'm probably just gonna like chat. So I feel like that goes with lifestyle, just like talking about my life. I don't know. I don't know. But those are the three that I'm going to say. Because do they need to be perfect? No. Does it get the point across? Hopefully. Next. I just really want to be able to show my personality, and I don't think that I have been showing my personality enough. Kind of like I was talking about at the beginning of this episode. I just don't think, especially on TikTok, I don't think I've been showing my personality enough. I think it's been like easy for me to figure out something simple to post and just post it. I definitely wasn't sticking to the content that I wanted to make every day because I would forget to check my good notes that's on my iPad, or I wouldn't have my iPad, or my iPad would be too far, or I'd be doing something and I didn't have it and I didn't remember what I was supposed to post. So I downloaded it on my phone so I can check. But I definitely didn't stick to everything that I wanted to post. So I think I'm just going to really try to show my personality a lot more on my TikTok in February, just because I don't think that I did that. I wasn't posting just to post every day because I loved a lot of things that I posted, but I definitely want to show my personality more and get a little bit more comfortable in that. Just because I feel like I've definitely been living in fear of what people think, but it's not even like the world. I don't care about what the world's gonna think or whoever's For You page it's showing up on. I'm more scared of the people in this town. I'm more scared of the people I went to high school with and people that are around me that are acquaintances and what they think than like anything else. And isn't that the silliest thing ever? Isn't that the dumbest thing ever? I should care about them the least amount. Their opinions don't need to matter to me, But that's kind of been something that the Lord's been working on me. He's been kind of like, hey, Emma, you need to like process your high school because you went right from high school into depression and eating disorders into coming to me, meeting Luke, and just never processed any of it. So there's been a lot of just things that happened in my high school years that I've been needing to really process. And so one of the things that the Lord revealed to me is that I do live in fear of those people, which is sad because I really thought I would be better than that, and not like need to care about what people think. But it also goes to show like when people are mean in high school, they don't know the impact that they're having on that person and like how that can actually cause like problems in their life for a long time. Like when you I don't want to say that I was bullied. I'm sure my friends would probably say that I was bullied, but I feel like that sounds so pick me to be like, yeah, I was bullied in high school, whatever. I don't really feel like I was. I just feel like they didn't like me. And I was in cheer and always around those people, and they didn't like me. And so it was like, oh, I was a cheerleader. So everyone that wasn't, or everyone else hated me because I was in cheer, but like the cheerleaders obviously didn't like me. And you'll hear me say that a lot of like, all these people hated me because that's what I truly believed. We're kind of getting into like a little bit about me. Yeah, I just right from at the end of junior high, my junior high best friend just like out of nowhere was like, we need to go our separate ways. And it devastated me because we were so close and it didn't make any sense to me. We were just like friends, and all of a sudden she wanted to go our separate ways, whatever that meant. And I didn't know what happened. I didn't know if it was because of guy or whatever. But my other friend that I had had longer than that friend, that was kind of in like our trio, decided to go with her instead of with me. So I was left with no one at the very end of eighth grade. And so going right into my freshman year, I had cheer, no friends, and just like switching from group to group. And that year was just really, first of all, that friend breakup was really hard for me, and I didn't know why at all. I still don't really know why. I think I was just like a dramatic eighth grader. I don't know. But that really, really broke me. And I think it was really stressful for me to not have anyone to go to. That whole summer before my freshman year, I didn't have any friends. I went into freshman year with all of these people. I went to the same elementary school, K through 6, into the junior high, into the high school. I've known a lot of these people for a long time, and it just was so hard for me to be like, how do I know all these people and feel like I have no one at all? So at the beginning of freshman year, it was a lot of just going from group to group. There was one group that I was in that I had like one good friend in. We were in cheer, and they all of like the other people in this like group, which I would hang out around them at lunch because the friend that I had was like part of that group, but they weren't like my friends necessarily. They kind of like set me up to be in a situation that like wasn't even about me. I don't know. They just were like, "Hey, you should do this." And then that caused this whole thing that I was like, I don't even know what happened, and then I wasn't, not like allowed, but there was no way I could show my face at that lunch area again. So I lost that friend, and then I tried to hang out with people in cheer, and I basically just did that. I hung out with a group of people from cheer, but I was so quiet and scared to be myself, and I didn't really have my own personality for a long time because I was just trying to not piss anyone off, um, and just stay under the radar. And somehow I still pissed people off, I guess. Um, and I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know if it was just my being. I don't know if it was. It wasn't because I was pretty. I had a grow up, a glow. Sorry, I didn't grow up. I'm still short, but I did have a glow up. But that was more towards the end of my junior year and into my senior year. I was not necessarily the prettiest. I don't know if maybe that's why. I still really don't know, and I don't think I want to try and pinpoint it to anything, but it is the things that my brain thinks about of like, why was this the story that I had, and why was it so difficult? Um, at the end of my freshman year, I started hanging out in the drama room. Was another thing I did, which is so funny. The two things I did were literally cheer and drama, which I feel like are just so opposite. Um, but I started hanging out in the drama room, and I met a couple of people there, but I still went out of the school year not actually having any friends to like hang out with over summer. So it was really just I was quiet at school. I didn't really know my own personality or who I was as an individual because I was just trying to be whatever I would be accepted as. Um, and that was definitely really rough, and that kind of continued. My sophomore year, I had one good friend, which is actually now my brother in law, Noah. So shout out. Um, but yeah, I had one good friend. We would hang out in the drama room at lunch and stuff. But same thing, I didn't really have like friends outside of school. I think pretty much ever except for Cassidy. We would hang out sometimes, but she had her own friend group and I was just doing other things. But like we were always great friends and we still are great friends. So shout out. But I don't know. It was definitely just an odd time for me of just constantly trying to be accepted while constantly being rejected and just never really knowing why, what it was about me. So I figured it was just me. So that's turned into a lot of I'm the problem kind of things always. Like, even in my relationship with Luke, it's a lot of my brain believes that I am the problem, and it's not like, oh, like your hormones are out of whack, and sometimes you like literally can't control like the fact that you're feeling these emotions. um it's just become like I'm the problem and nothing can fix that. um and so yeah, that's kind of just been a lot of what high school did to me. I think there's a lot more inside of that, too, things that happened in high school. But a lot of it was really just me seeking to be accepted, in which I never really was, because being accepted by people of the world doesn't matter. You need to be seeking to be accepted by God, who accepts you as who you are entirely. You don't have to clean yourself up to go to Him. Yeah, which was just definitely definitely hard, and I've been needing to process a lot of what happened because I feel like I would just go on autopilot until I could be accepted. So I don't even really know who I was. I didn't know very much about myself, I think. So I've just been trying to go back into my memory and remove things or people that I relied on to get acceptance from and just really look at the person that I was and all of that. And even just talking right now, like I'm being able to put a lot of things together. I said I'm a verbal processor. It's just how it is. And so journaling definitely helps, but actually being able to talk is much more of a pace that my mind goes at than writing things down. Some simple things about me. Obviously, I talked about cheer and drama. I loved cheer. I was a flyer. I loved flying. I, by the end of my senior year, got a bunch of tumbling. I won nationals twice. I was on JV comp though, I was on varsity, but honestly, praise God. Honestly, in our JV team at Buchanan, compared to like a lot of teams, CUSD in particular, the school district that all the schools were in, is really, really, Fresno in general, really good at cheer. Really good. So when people would come back from nationals, everyone in Fresno is like, everyone wins at nationals. Like, actually, no, we all just like are really good and are in different divisions, but people won't understand. I loved cheer. I almost did cheer again at Fresno State, and stunting with people that are like actually meant to be cheerleaders like at Fresno State was just impeccable. I loved flying so much. I miss flying, but I don't think that I'll ever be able to really tumble again. My body is really broken. I was dropped a couple times on purpose, and I actually have really bad problems in my lower back now. So that's not fun. That's the other thing that comes with cheers, a lot of actual physical pain. And I also have a bunch of neck problems, so I think tumbling just is kind of out of the picture for me, which is kind of sad because it definitely could be a form of working out for me if I wanted, but I just don't think that my body can handle that, which is kind of sad. I also did drama. Um, I never really had like a big role or anything, but I really loved to dance. So just being able to dance and do drama and like the behind the scenes tech stuff was really fun for me. I like to travel. I like to do day trips. I don't really think, obviously, it's not in the budget to be able to like actually travel places right now, but when I was going into my freshman year that summer, we went on like a trip halfway across the US to a bunch of national parks, and that was so fun. Definitely something that I think Luke and I want to do too. Is he has a bunch of places he wants to go for video, and I would just love to go and travel and see more places of the world. But a few of my favorite travel spots I've been to have been Yellowstone, Yosemite. Yosemite is really close though, so I get to go there all the time. Maui, which I went to, I think in like second grade when my stepmom and my dad got married, and that was really cool. Kona was good, but it definitely was like a one trip thing for me. We kind of saw everything I needed to see. That's where we went on our honeymoon. And Molokai, I think where we stayed was fun and it was beautiful. But I don't know if it would be like my travel spot that I would want to go to like all the time, just because I feel like going the once was like good, and if I was to go again, I feel like it'd be like a big family thing of like we're all gonna go here and get this Airbnb and all that. So I don't know if it would necessarily be one of my like favorites because Yellowstone is just insane, and I really want to go back there. I really want to go with Luke. I had to clear my phone. I had to clear my phone in like the middle of freshman year because I was changing my password because my cousins kept getting into my phone. And so I changed my password and I literally couldn't remember what I made it. I couldn't. It locked me out permanently and I had to wipe everything. So I don't have any of my pictures from Yellowstone, which is really sad. But yeah, I loved Yellowstone a lot. Yosemite is super fun, and especially because we're so close, there's like so many niche aspects and hikes and things that you can just go do, which is really sweet. And obviously Disneyland. I really want to go to Disney World, but I only that's like a huge expense. And I feel like it's not even at its peak right now. I really want to go when the Monsters Inc. land is done because that John's gonna be crazy. I want to go to that so bad. I also just want to go to like Disneyland Paris. I will literally think it's on my bucket list to go to all of the like Disneyland locations, Disney World type of things. Disneyland, Tokyo Disney, and Shanghai Disney look crazy. I would love to go to those. Yeah. On the topic of Disney, though, I also love pin trading. Luke and I have been kind of like trying to collect sets. We kind of got into it like we've only been in it for a bit, so it's not like we have this like huge collection or everything. So we're kind of reassessing after this last trip how we want to pin trade because we were trying to collect sets before and we were working on the villain set and we came across someone that had the last pin that we needed. And because it was the last pin that we needed, they literally wouldn't trade it for anything except for a Stitch D, which doesn't mean anything to anyone that doesn't know pin trading, but it was basically part of the Wave B Hidden Disney set, and it was a really rare one that wasn't supposed to be a really rare one, but ended up being a really rare one. So I don't know, whatever that means. But I pulled one for Christmas that Luke got me, and I was trying to also collect the Wave B set, and they were like, we won't give you this for any. I'm like, the value of these two are so different, but because you know it's the one that we need, you're not going to trade. I don't know. It was just really annoying, and a lot of people in the pin trading community have just been really annoying with stuff like that. And like even just with pulling pin packs in general, we were trying to collect Wave B and we bought so many pouches and pulled the exact same pouch. We have to have had more luck pulling the exact same pouch from a pin pack that has at least 35 pins in it. I think there's 37 pins, and we pulled the same pack 4 times. You have to be more lucky to do that than to actually pull like a super chaser or something. I swear. But it was just really frustrating. And so we were like, okay, I don't think collecting sets is going to be like our thing because then it just leads you to be like, okay, well, now if no one's going to be trading with us, then we should probably just buy another pack. But that just gets so expensive and it's not in the budget. So I think we still are gonna like collect sets if one comes around that we really want, or like we see people that have them and just try to like trade like that. We've collected almost 2 sets like that now. But the reason this is silly, but the reason that I want sorry, this is so off topic. I'm just excited, but the reason that I want to collect sets is because I have this idea for our office to do like a pin wall, but also like one of those frame walls. So I'll have the 4x6 frames be like sets that we've collected, and then there'll be a bigger one for like, for example, I want to collect all Disney cats. So Cheshire Cat, Figaro, like all of the Disney cats. I would just love to collect those pins. Marie, oh my gosh, I love all of them. So I want to be able to trade to get those, which like some hidden Disney sets will have some like that, and some people might just have really niche ones that are really cool. So I think I want to collect those. I want to collect Princess Aurora for sure. That I might even just make that princesses in general because I also love like Cinderella and stuff. I don't know. Which made me really sad. There was a Sleeping Beauty hat chaser in the Wave B set, and I wanted it so bad. Like, I would have wanted it if it wasn't a chaser, it just had to be a chaser. It was just so sad because it was the cutest pin ever, and I know that there's no way that I'm ever gonna get it because people are too stingy, but whatever. Anyways, I just get excited about pins because like Luke wants to collect Pinocchio or Monsters Inc. and stuff, and so I just want to make this mosaic of like pin boards that are in cute vintage frames. I don't know. In our office, I think it would be really cute. Anyways, I went on a way too much of a tangent with Disney, but that shows you how much I love it. Travel, obviously interior design. I love everything about design, styling, etc. Cats, which you could probably tell with me wanting to collect Disney cats, and by the little John that is sleeping on my feet right now. Which, by the way, this is our last week with them. I think the day that this podcast comes out actually is going to be our last day with them. My mom is taking them finally. We just can't afford to keep them. These poor little babies. They're so cute though, and they've grown so much from their feralness into their sweet loviness that they are now. And coffee. I have always loved working in coffee. I love how coffee brings people together. Obviously, I'm having so much fun actually making some at home as my coffee has melted next to me. Oh, goodness. My dream that I have right now is to remodel a house, not like knock down walls, take the whole thing apart, but like slowly be able to uplift. Like the dream would be to rent a house and like be able to repaint or put plaster on the walls, like do something like that and have our rent be lower because we're using the money to like update their house and I could do mock presentations. I don't know. That is my dream right now. It might happen, might. I don't know about that at all in any way, shape, or form, but it might happen. And so, prayers up. So, back to a little bit of the actual deeper things besides high school. My parents divorced when I was 2. I don't remember life with them together except for like little random things. Like, for some reason, I know what the house I lived in looked like, even though I was literally like 1 or 2. LOL. But if it also tells you anything, I was present in a wagon at my parents' wedding too. So that's how short the marriage was. If they were divorced when I was 2. And yeah, that just kind of has been my life. I don't know anything besides that. I think it is harder for kids who go through divorce at an older age just because it really impacts them in like a big, hard, traumatizing event in their life. For me, it's kind of just been the lifestyle that I have, which people might argue is hard, which I mean, because it's the only thing I've ever known, I guess sometimes it was hard. And I do wonder what it would be like to have another sibling that was the same blood as me sometimes. I just, number one, would want to see what they would look like, but also just have had someone to go through that with. I think I just became a very self reliant and independent person because I was the only consistency. Like I was the only thing that was the same going back and forth because it was this parent or that parent and week to week. And I think that they did a great job with what they had, but they were both growing different lives. They both got remarried when I was in, I want to say second grade, and had their first kid when I was in third. So there's a huge age gap between me and all of my siblings. So they were just really in making the life, and I was there, and I know that they love me. But yeah, there just feels like a lot that I've become self reliant in, or things that I didn't talk about, things I didn't learn, which was a big contributor to why I was so innocent in high school and everything, just because I was really self reliant. So it was easy for my parents to not worry about me. But also, I just think that it led to a little bit of things slipping through the cracks. And not in any hate to them, I think that they really did the best that they could. But that is how my parents divorcing when I was young impacted me. I think in the biggest ways. There's probably a lot more, but I think I've been talking for too long already. Which, hey, is a good problem because I was really worried it wasn't going to fill up time. I was just super insecure and innocent in high school. I think a lot of people thought I was weird. Um, I probably was weird. I really have, being that I've started to follow the Lord, I've really unlocked a personality and really learned who I am, which is really fun because I didn't really have that at all before I met Christ. And so when I see people from high school or people that used to know me, I really am a different person, and it's been really sweet. And there's still a lot of that girl inside of me that's just really insecure and worried that I'm weird or not going to be accepted. But hey, the Lord said it, we're processing through it, and that's what season I'm in right now. So we're processing through it. I struggle a lot with pride and control. I would say those are my two top sins, I guess. When I started to do regen and they make you choose three. Well, they don't make you choose three. You do a quiz, and then it will tell you your big three. And mine were pride control and eating disorders. So I've also struggled with eating disorders. I don't really struggle with it anymore. I definitely am still like super aware of like my body and stuff, but I used to do some crazy things. Crazy things. My spiritual gift is discernment. That is at least the one that I've sharpened the most, and I've been kind of like keeping it to myself, but after talking about it with like a mentor of mine, my coach from WSM, I definitely have been able to be like, yeah, it's my spiritual gift. And the therapist that I went to for a couple of months, she also was like, your spiritual gift is 100% discernment, and it's because both of theirs is discernment. And so that was just a super great affirmation for me because I always thought it, and I didn't like know if I was crazy. So I've been leading into it so much more, and there's been a ton of crazy small circumstances where I've been like, I should have just said that I thought that out loud when it happened, that like someone would be able to see. But some of those things, now that I've started saying them to Luke, he's like been like, oh my gosh, how did you know? I'm like, the Lord just told me. It just happens. It was a feeling. Yeah. And then just another small random thing when it comes to music. My top two artists are Taylor Swift and Morgan Wallen. I have been a Taylor Swift fan since debut. I was 3 years old, screaming "Picture to Burn." So call me a Swiftie if you want, make fun of me if you want. I've been there since day one. I love Red. I love Fearless, and I really love the debut album. I'm really sad that the Taylor's version hasn't come out. I hope that it does. But actually, believe it or not, I've really been listening to Tortured Poets Department lately. I didn't really listen to it when it came out just because I was in a season where, because BC, I would listen to Taylor Swift and like really connect my emotions to what she was saying and just get really way too emotionally invested. And so when I came to Christ and like if I was going through something, I'd find myself going to Taylor Swift to process. And I was like, okay, probably not what I should be doing. So I took like a year of not listening to Taylor Swift at all. And I've been getting back into it and just being able to like see like her music for what it is and like more think about it and like her life as a story, than comparing it to mine. I do still think it helps me put words to emotions or things that I've gone to, which has been helping me process some things. But it's funny because with the Tortured Poets Department, I'm really putting together, this is also so silly, I promise I'm almost done. Um, but I've been really thinking about her relationship with Joe and Maddie Healy because obviously the Tortured Poets is about both of those breakups. And I really think that Joe and her did not always have like a solid relationship. And I've said this for forever. I don't want to hear it. I've said this for forever. Folklore and Evermore are not made up stories at all, and a happy person cannot write some of the most devastating music that you've ever heard. It's not. So I've been thinking about doing like a whole podcast on that, but I've been like, like no one's gonna want to listen to like Taylor Swift stuff. And they might, but we're gonna do it for me, and I'm probably gonna do it with Ellie because I feel like she's the other bigger Swiftie in my life. So stay tuned for that because I have a lot of thoughts on lyrics and things that she said in like literally Lover through Tortured Poets. And I'm like, this is this and this is why and this is my proof. Um yeah, like even Lover, I never loved Lover even when I like started dating Luke and I was in my Lover era. Like I didn't really love any of those songs just because they seem like such an anxious attachment. And everyone's like, oh, Reputation is a like lover album of like they finally got together. I was like, no, it's not. The whole thing is about them being a fling and she wants to be serious with him and he's kind of like, eh. And then Lover is she finally made it and she's got it and now she's so terrified of losing it. Also, definitely think that they broke up at the end of Lover. Death by a Thousand Cuts is 100% about Joe, and then they got back together, and it was a toxic relationship of them getting back together a million different times until it wasn't, which is why her development of feelings for Maddie Healy was so strong, was because it went on during a lot of the off and on relationship that she had with Joe, fresh out the slammer, finally going back to you, running home to you, which is why she was so attached and why some of these songs are so deep about him, even though it was only a fortnight relationship. Anyway, that's the sum up that's been going on in my head. And I'm glad that I got it out. But if you don't care, you don't care. Whatever. So that's just a little bit about me, my personality, but also what January looked like. And I'm really excited. I was supposed to post weekly updates on TikTok, and I definitely didn't do that. That was another way I should have been talking to the camera, and I didn't. I kept forgetting to post them, or not post them, but film them on Saturday so I could post it on Sunday. And that was also because I was working on Saturday and usually had something in the morning, but now I don't work on Saturdays. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope it showed a little bit more of my personality. Um, yeah, and I'm just so excited for next week. We'll have Jenny here, and it should be so much fun. So, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week.